Welcome back to the Sports Complex on a Friday afternoon. Big show for you today. We're going to talk some college football, little college volleyball, little college basketball, talk a little bit about some rumors, some gamesmanship happening, and pick you some games. Bowl games start tomorrow as well, so we'll get into all of those things. We're also going to talk a little bit about next year's schedule, play the schedule game, and get into the 2024 schedule for Texas. You know, we get into it on a Friday, and then when we start on Monday, we'll start getting into Texas and Washington and return to this season. But today, we'll look forward. We're also going to talk some NBA, some NFL. Head coach got fired last night this morning. Shouldn't have been allowed on the team plane. Shouldn't have been allowed to be the coach for the last, 2 years. But we'll get into all of that and a whole lot more here on the Sports Complex, including your text messages. 512-447-3776. 512-447-3776 is the text line number. Questions, comments, concerns, you just send it in because you guys drive the show. We just try to keep it on the rails. When I say we, I mean myself, Patrick Davis, and across from me, Mr. Jacob Standard, ready to rock and roll on a Friday, a fun Friday show. Getting it loose and wild and ready to go, right?
Oh, yeah. Y'all hear Patrick's voice today? That means I'm in charge. This is my show now. No, I'm doing great, Patrick.
That means Patrick may have been yelling into a microphone a whole lot last night. Maybe did a few shots, had a few beers, and had a great time. Thanks to everybody who was out there at Jelly's 11th annual Christmas Jam. It was a great time. Raised some money for the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund. Check them out if you have not checked them out. If you weren't able to make it out, but you want to go check out and be able to support our first responders, it's a great organization, the Austin Firefighters Relief and Outreach Fund. But it was a great fun time. So many awesome performances, bands getting together, and you just saw people's eyes wide open and just loving it because they're doing Kashmir from Led Zeppelin with Hayden Vitero on fiddle and Nagavali, Eastern Soul, and then Josh. Like, it's great. It was just and a bunch of stuff like that, But it was tons of fun. But yeah, I was introing bands the whole night and then trying to intro people on the jam, and you're doing it and you're trying to get people into it and get energy and all that. And so you do it, and then I can't hear myself very well, which is because I wear headphones for a living, and then before that I stood in front of speakers for a living, so. My hearing's not great, so then I was just screaming louder and louder to be able to do it. So you may hear a little bit of my voice today that I had a great time last night. But I'm here. I got up, I did my job. I'm here, but my voice is not fully here.
That's okay. We'll take you just how you are, Patrick.
We'll take it. We'll get it done. We'll get our voices up and ready to go. Let's get into a little talk. First of all, first note we should put in is that the volleyball team is doing Texas proud, where some people thought maybe this season was a little bit of a letdown after winning the national championship. Not a bad season, but they were they weren't the number one seed. They weren't, necessarily going to straight defend their championship. Well, they're going to straight defend their championship now. They beat Wisconsin 3-1 last night. They play a Nebraska Sunday at 2 p.m. It's going to be on ABC, so everybody can watch it and support Texas volleyball. Another win. Madison Skinner, another great game.
Yeah, she had 6 aces on the night, and this Texas team systematically broke Wisconsin's will after the second set. It was tied 1-1, and then they just never looked back. It was a lot of fun to watch. Another thing I learned last night, Asia O'Neal, Jermaine O'Neal's daughter, 2 open heart surgeries when she was a freshman.
I did not know that.
Out there balling out on the volleyball court.
No, I did not know that. Yeah, it is always fun to see Jermaine O'Neal in the...
Yeah.
And just forget for a minute, and they're like, hey!
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we get to see that on Sunday. On Saturday, you'll be able to watch LSU versus Texas Saturday morning. It's an 11 a.m. game.
Woo!
So if you want to get up, they're going to be playing in Houston. So if you see it's at Texas, they're playing in Houston, neutral site game. It'll be a fun game. LSU 6-4, so not a great team, but a good team. They have a couple things that could give Texas fits. They're pretty good at forcing turnovers. They average forcing about 15 turnovers a game. So something Texas is going to have to be able to hold the ball and make sure they get it in there. We want to see if Texas can shoot the ball well in this game. That's what we want to see because you're not at Moody Center where they've shot okay at the Moody Center. They've shot pretty bad everywhere else on the road. So can they come to another neutral side place and be able to shoot the ball there? Can they rebound against a pretty tall LSU team? They've got a couple of 6'10 forwards that are going to be playing, and also former Longhorn Will Baker. We know from Westlake. He originally came to Texas. wasn't getting the playing time he wanted. There were some other guys ahead of him. And I think maybe Jackson Hayes, it might have been Jackson Hayes' season, but Jericho Sims was going to get playing time. And so he didn't really want to wait in the line, and he understood that he needed to play to get his development up. And he just probably wasn't going to get that playing time at Texas because there was some other guys there, and his system didn't fit in with what Shaka was doing as well. He was a little bit slower than Shaka would have liked. He tried to shoot more threes and go inside. So he needed to play and figure out his game. He's the leading scorer for LSU now.
Ooh.
So he's moved. It's his second transfer. He's now at LSU. But, yeah, he is now the leading scorer, 13.3 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game. So they do have a lot of good rebounders, so they get guys out there. So you want to see Texas, if they can rebound and play against a team that is taller than them. They got some size, but Texas should be tougher and be able to bump around with guys like Brock Cunningham and Shedrick. You should be able to bump around. You want to be able to see if Dylan Mitchell can come in this game and show off what he can do as well in a big game where you're playing, SEC opponent, because next year you're in the SEC, so you're going to be playing LSU starting next year.
Yeah, how's LSU's zone? Because I guarantee you're going to see a bunch of it.
You will see zone. I don't know if you're going to see tons and tons, because there's going to be parts where if they match up size-wise, it may be more difficult to do it because you can kind of get around them, but they may be playing. They're going to play zone because everyone is.
If Texas. I was coaching against Texas right now, I would play zone until they prove to me they can shoot us out of it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you want to see. So Max Abmas, if he can shoot threes and he can score at the level that we all think he can at some point, once he gets comfortable at Texas and playing against a little bit faster speed, then this season can start to turn around. IT Horton, he's going to have to be able to play big in this game and not let guys get around him. And if he can do that, he can stay in the game, then he can shoot. We know he can shoot. It's just he's having trouble putting it all together and playing both sides. I think he used to play more just an offensive side, and it was easier for him to get in rhythm. But we'll see it. It's a good test of a not, you're not going up against a UConn right now, and you're not going up against a top team or a Marquette that are top 5 teams in the country.
Sure.
This is a 6-4 unranked LSU. But they are a Power 5 school and not Houston Christian. Or anything like that. So it's a good test to just say, okay, let's go to a neutral site and see if we can handle business, and we are, can show that we're a top 10 team in the country.
And you should take care of business. But is it really a neutral site if the game's being played in Houston?
Yeah, because LSU is in Louisiana.
Yeah, I get it.
Not that. Like, there's Louisiana people in Houston.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, there will be LSU people in Houston. It's like Dallas for Oklahoma, where you could say, Dallas, that's the neutral site. Is the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. It's the same concept.
Yeah, I get it. I just still in Texas.
It is still in Texas. I get that. There's going to be, and Texas fans travel.
Right.
Like, we know that. But the Texas fans, if you put it in Louisiana, you put it in Lafayette or something like that, Texas fans will be there too.
Yeah.
And believe me, if you put it in New Orleans or somewhere, they're going to go there too.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, no, I get it. But yeah, Houston's close. It's closer. It's on the way. It's in between the two.
Still, go handle your business, Horns.
Go handle your business. Go play. And the reason we say also neutral site, it's not the building they practice in.
That's fair.
It's not, they're not being able to just sit and go, this is our building. We have our student section right here. We have all these things, which the student section is not going to be there for the next few games anyway, because students are on break right now.
Oh.
Finals are over and students are on break. But yeah, that game will be 11 a.m. Tomorrow morning.
Woo, that's going to be a tough way to get up.
You know what? But 11, come on. It's 11 a.m.
I know. I'm just saying, for an athlete, it's just tough. You got to get everything warmed up a little bit earlier than you're used to.
I mean, they just talked to Texas football, because anyone who's been at Texas football for more than this season played a lot of 11 a.m. games.
Not this season.
No, this season people were excited.
Yeah.
But no, before that, as someone who had to work a lot of tailgates.
Oh, I remember. I remember being down at Bevo Boulevard at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever time it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, you don't need to stay for the tailgate. You just need to help us make sure we're on the air and we're good to go. And,
oh yeah.
And you'd be like, cool. So what time do you need me there? Like 3:30? Thanks. Cool.
Yeah, appreciate that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home and sleep through this game. I didn't sleep through games. I stayed up through the games. And then my buddy would be like, hey, do you want to watch more games? He'd be like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I kind of do. I know. I'm an addict. I know.
Speaking of college football, we did get 24/7 is ranking the quarterbacks in the portal. And this has kind of been a question with Maalik Murphy, where he sits in the rankings. To some, he's one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
Because some people around Texas, which is homerism, but they believe that Maalik Murphy is the best quarterback in there. They believe he could be a star. Like, he was competing with Quinn Ewers for that starting job. He was, he did beat out Arch Manning for that second position. And so if we say that, I think there's just not the sample size of what you've seen of him playing.
You got to remember, too, this guy, when he was being recruited out of high school, he was at the top of that class.
Exactly.
He had an injury to
He
deal
just
with.
wasn't the number one overall prospect
And he
like
was
the
recovering.
like the other two quarterbacks on Texas roster who were the number one overall quarterback prospect in the draft.
Exactly.
So, yeah, but I think that he is there. They're ranking him as 4th, which is believable because you just don't have the resume yet. And so he doesn't have a huge high school resume because of the injury. He's played 2 games for Texas. They're both wins, but there was some flaws you saw in there, which he will grow and get better at. We do see there has been rumors now that some people are saying that Washington is going to try and get him to come to the team because then if he comes, then they'll have some more information on Texas and part of this. I don't believe in that.
He's also going to be the starter for next season if they get him. So
I think
it would make sense.
Yeah, I think they are looking at him. UCLA's looking at him. Florida State's looking at him. Ohio State's looking at him.
I think a lot of people are looking at
exactly.
him.
I'm saying some top schools are part of this, looking at him, saying, "Let's get him a visit. Let's see where he's at. Let's see, let's get some film on this kid because he could be 2 years of eligibility for us. He's not one of those seniors that's coming in. We get 2 years out of him."
Oh, I know.
That's a big thing when you're talking about these transfers. 2 years out of a transfer is way better, especially at quarterback, to get a little bit more stability than what Notre Dame's going through, which is, okay, well, we had Sam Hartman. All right, well, it didn't work this season, so we're going to try again with Riley Leonard next year.
1-year QB
and then
factory.
if it works, then cool, then we're done, and he moves on. We got to get somebody else. Instead of building in. So I think there's going to be a lot of interest. The rumors with Washington, I think, are starting more of people trying to figure out a way to make a story.
It got me. It got me to click on the story.
But it's the theory was they would get him so they would have a advantage. Seeing everything Blake Murphy has talked about too, I don't think he'd be that keen.
Oh, he wouldn't. No
he does
way.
not seem like the type of guy. I feel like he's the type of guy if Washington tried to bring him in and was like, can we get the playbook or this and that? He'd be like, no, I don't want to go here.
Yeah, no, I'm
like,
good.
I don't need to do that.
I don't need to do this. Yeah.
I'm good enough. if y'all want me, y'all want me. If y'all want the playbook, go get Catalon's better too. Get one of the younger guys and they'll tell you what's up because
Right.
they want they need the money and they need whatever. But Malik Murphy, I don't see that. I still think UCLA's probably leading it. Right now would be
For Malik.
That would be my guess. It's his hometown team. It's a place where they were in the running for him originally. He picked Texas over UCLA.
I could see that.
And they just lost their quarterback to the transfer portal. Dante Moore was their quarterback. So we could see that he would go on and, step over to there. Also, we'll be able to, they'll have more time. They actually play on Saturday. So their season ends on Saturday.
Right.
So he's going to be watching that game, I'm sure. And then, they're going to be focused on next season. He can come in there and talk to them starting Monday.
You better believe they're thinking about it, too, when they trot that true freshman out there for the Bruins and be like, is Malik better than that guy?
Exactly. Who do we trust more?
Yeah, right.
Who's got the arm?
Which, by the way, some notable names he's in front of. Riley Leonard. This is according to 247 Sports.
Okay, yeah.
Riley Leonard, new Notre Dame quarterback. Dylan Gabriel, heading to Oregon.
Okay.
Kyle McCord. And DJ Uiagalelei. 247 has him ranked above all of them.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is people have him ranked pretty high.
247 has him as 4th.
So it's ahead of him Cam Ward, Kyle McCord, and
no, Kyle McCord's beneath him. They have Cam Ward, Dante Moore, and Aiden Chillis.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I might put him behind a Dante Moore too. But that's, again, I've seen more Malik Murphy, and we've seen,
Right.
But I think he'll be fine wherever he ends up. And I think if you're UCLA, you're just fine and dandy saying, okay, well, Dante Moore's out. We got a guy who could be better than him.
Yeah. You know who else they have ahead of all those QBs? Will Howard. They have him at 5 out of Kansas State.
People like Will Howard.
A little interesting nugget that I just saw there.
I mean, look, USC is going to be probably looking for a quarterback too. They're in that picture as well.
Oh, no doubt.
USC's in that picture as well. Because when you say Will Howard, I know that I've heard ties to him that he may be going that way, or they're looking at him. Let's put it that way.
I love this age of college football.
But when we talk about this age too, let's also mention the story that came out that Nick Saban has hired former Michigan assistant George Hello or whatever his name is.
I like to say Hilo.
Hilo, maybe.
I like Hilo.
Hilo, let's go with that. George Hilo. He was a linebackers coach in the 21-22 season for Michigan. Then they decided to bring back their linebackers coach, Partridge.
Yep.
He was at Ole Miss. He comes back. He is then fired this season because he was the one that destroyed evidence for in the Connor Stallions case.
Oh, did
So-
this start with George Hilo?
So he maybe
Did
but Partridge was the one that destroyed evidence.
but did he just pick it up from Hilo?
He was like, it was already on the linebacker.
It was already there, yeah.
No, you guys use it. No, but that's so he
It's
is.
not my computer.
So yeah, but the linebackers coach in Michigan are very involved in these scams and whatever it is. But Nick Saban's hired him to bring him on to help game plan for Michigan. And
Yep.
depending on how much you believe is the same from 21-22 and how much you can get from a coach for the schemes and what they're doing that you can't get from film or study or knowing whatever else. Look, if you're Alabama and you have the resources to kind of do these things, why would you not?
I don't think it's so much scheme and playbook because obviously that stuff changes, right?
It's not
Protect
playbook. When
your
I say
place. But what-
scheme,
it's
it's-
tendencies, right?
Exactly.
I know how that
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
thinks. I know when he gets in this situation, he wants to do this.
Yeah, and we know how we coach them.
Right,
And we know
exactly.
what Harbaugh wants to do.
I know what we keyed on. Yeah.
Exactly. Like we talked about that before the Texas-Alabama game of Sark knowing what Nick Saban tells all his OCs.
Right.
And he knows these are the things that stay. And this is part of Nick Saban. So he can walk in and go, these are part of Harbaugh's principles
Exactly.
that everybody has. So I don't need to be there and tell you this is the way it is.
This
now,
is fundamental to who that guy is.
Now,
Right.
the difference is he was a linebackers coach for one season. So it's not like this guy's going to come in and give a wealth of knowledge to a guy like Nick Saban.
Sure,
but
2
at the same,
seasons.
no, 21-22 season.
Oh yeah.
It's
I
one
got
season.
You. Yeah, I got you.
So one season. But now if we say he will be able to come in and give whatever he does, and for Nick Saban, he's like, cool, whatever. Like we have them, we have money allotted for this.
Right.
Well, if I don't spend it, we're not using it. I'm not getting it.
Exactly.
So let's do this, and maybe if you walk in and you go, by the way, if you see the linebacker, he's got a thing. We coached him, and I saw him do it this year, where if he shifts his left knee out, that means he's in pass coverage. And if he shifts his left knee in, it means he's going to blitz. And something like that, but tells like that, and you just go, that's a tendency this guy has.
Yeah.
And just little things like that where you can go, okay, this is what they do, and normally when they do this, it's this. Now, they're a good enough team, Michigan is, that they're going to try and change up anything that guy knows because you're going against him. But that's what it is. It's a savvy move. It's what you do. Texas has done similar stuff like this before. Normally what you see is that a coach will hire somebody who's like a rival coach that has been fired or whoever else becomes an advisor. You'll see that happen a lot where somebody is very familiar with who you're about to play and you hire.
PK.
Yeah, but that's we've already got PK on staff, but that's what I'm saying is that'll happen a lot too. It's just funny because we saw the Washington part and we're like, well, that's not real. That is not, and he may go there, but I don't think they're getting him to get Texas stuff. But this is completely.
And it makes a difference.
By the way, Hilo was not coaching this season.
No.
So if Nick Saban wanted him, the whole season to get him.
Exactly.
He's waiting till the playoffs and goes, we need somebody else. I don't know who.
Oh, wait a minute. We play Michigan? Oh, do they have any old coaches that aren't coaching right now?
Who may be upset because he mutually parted ways and didn't get another job.
Yeah, no. And it does make a difference because if you look at, like, Bill Belichick's been doing it for a while with practice squad QBs, but then you even look at the Chargers, right? Do you think the Cowboys are only 3 points better than the Chargers? Because that's how close that game was when Kellen Moore knew every intimate detail about Dak Prescott.
Yeah, but we're
So
going to
it
talk
does
about
make a
We're going to
difference.
talk about Kellen Moore in a minute. We're going to talk about him in a minute. Texas did release their schedule yesterday or the day before, Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Wednesday they released their 2024 schedule, so we can start planning about the big games and where the parties are going to be at, and telling your significant other dates that do not work for dates.
They're going 22-0.
22-0.
22-0. I'm even bleeding into the season after next.
But let's go through this game. We'll play a quick schedule game. Me and Jacob will. If you guys want to play along and give us a final score, final schedule prediction on the text line, you can do that as well as we go through. But I will keep this, and then we'll put this in the bag, and then I will lose it well before the end of next season.
There you go.
But let's see. Texas starts off August 31st. They start off with Colorado State here at home. It seems like a W for everybody.
Yeah, I feel like that's a win. Yeah.
We can go with the W on that one. And then week 2. That's where you go up to Ann Arbor. You're playing a Michigan team. Now, we don't know. We don't know yet who will be the head coach. We do not know who the quarterback, the running back, possibly wide receivers could be at Michigan. There's a lot of questions. But they also could be coming off a national championship season. They could be coming off to losing to Texas in the national championship.
Can we hire their linebackers coach?
I'm sure he's not going to have a job after Nick Saban gets done with him. And we get Partridge, too, the disgraced evidence destroyer Partridge. We can get him in, too. Do you have faith here that Texas can beat Michigan on the road in Ann Arbor
If everything's the same as it is now, I don't think so. I think Texas loses that game.
I have them as a win because I believe Texas is going to have way more consistency of if Quinn Ewers, which we believe he's going to be coming back. Now, hopefully they win a national championship and then he leave. But I will say right now, I think that there's going to be way more consistency in the Texas program than there is going to be in the Michigan program, where I do believe Harbaugh is going to try his best to leave to go to the NFL. And if all those things happen, it could make a shift that in week 2, this Michigan team is going to need a little time to recover.
Yeah.
And get a new quarterback and everything else. So I have Texas winning that game.
That's fair. Ann Arbor's just a tough place to go play.
It is extremely hard. And look, it can go either way. We're picking these games a year out.
No, this is in concrete.
This is in concrete.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to rate these in pencil. Then we go 3 home games in a row.
Yep.
Watch, I'll give you the 2 first, the non-conference, UTSA and ULM.
Win-win.
Win-win. We got both of those wins. And then we go home again, starting SEC. First SEC game will be against Mississippi State here at Texas. Win there as well. How about back at the Cotton Bowl against Oklahoma? Do they avenge their loss against Oklahoma?
Absolutely. Come on.
I do. I have them winning this game again because, again, consistency versus we don't know who the quarterback is for Oklahoma right now.
Sure.
Could be General Booty. We don't know.
Could be.
Then, October 19th, a pissed-off Kirby Smart coming in, not happy that he was not in the college football playoff and Texas was. Wants to regain his control of the SEC after losing in the SEC championship game to Alabama. You know, they had that long streak going. Do you have Texas? Georgia's here to hear game. Do you have them winning or losing?
I do.
You have a win. I have a loss here for Texas. I think I'm not going to say that they're going to be undefeated. I think that that's just a really, really hard game. Texas does have problems where the home field is going to be great, but they sometimes it's harder for them to get up for those games.
Sure.
And I think Georgia's going to come in pissed off.
That makes sense.
Let's go. Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. We got to win there, right?
Win.
Florida, another big game. They are not playing well this season. Could they turn it around? Billy Napier still seems to have his job.
Nah, win.
Win. I got to win there, too. At Arkansas. Remember how Arkansas whooped on Texas a couple years ago? They're going to be coming for blood. Is it a win or a loss for Texas?
That's a win.
I got to win, too. And let's go Kentucky. Not a bad team. It's at home for Texas.
Not great. I'll give them a win.
You give them a win. I'm giving them a win, too. And then finally, we're just picking a win on this.
Come on now.
November 30th.
Do we have to play that game? Do we have to play the game against the Aggies?
We'll be playing against when they have fired Elko and have to pay him out and hire a new coach. We'll be playing against Aggies. We're both at one-loss team, right?
Yes.
We're a one-loss team. That's about where I figured we were going to be with this team, especially if Quinn Ewers comes back. Let us know on the text line, 512-447-3776, what you have. What do you think Texas will be next season? Let us know. Are you thinking they could be undefeated? Are you saying a one-loss team, a two-loss? You got some hard games. You got Michigan on the road. You have Georgia at home. You have Oklahoma at the Cotton Bowl. You do have to go to A&M. You have to go to Arkansas. There's a lot of chances. You don't have to tell us which team's games they're going to lose if you want to. You want to take a level of difficulty, tell us which games. Or you can just say they win them all.
Right.
You don't got to tell us any games, and we'll figure it out.
I like that answer.
But, yeah, give us that. I do want to mention a couple games. Their bowl games do start on Saturday. So bowl games start on Saturday. Let's go real quick and hit these bowl games. UCLA, 4.5-point favorite against Boise State in the LA Bowl.
I'll take Boise State plus 4.5. The Mountain West champs are 6-1 in the last 7 bowl games against Pac-12.
They don't have their quarterback. They don't have their running back. They don't have a lot of players on this team. Their quarterback who is playing, C.J. Tiller, is no pass attempts. No pass attempts this season. UCLA is third in rush defense. They have 41 sacks. They're going to make life very difficult for UCLA. And also Cal versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a 3.5-point favorite. I will tell you that their quarterback or their running back or their linebacker has opted out. Is going to be a real test of running backs. Taj Brooks versus Jay Knott. Taj Brooks is a better player. The defense is a little bit better. We will go with Texas Tech being able to win that game and Taj Brooks running it, but I think there's going to be a lot of yards on the ground. All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get us in to some talk about the NBA. And you know what? Actually, we forgot to do the big fat poll. I keep forgetting on my own show what to do. Let's hit that big fat poll.
Patrick's big fat poll of the day on the Horn.
Patrick's big fat poll of the day today. We're going to have a fun one on a Friday. We'll give you a couple. So the first one is, what's your favorite Irwin Center memory as they're tearing it down, as it is being rained into right now, because I believe the roof's already going down. We talked about it a little last Friday, I believe, or last week. We talked about what's your favorite Irwin Center memory. What is your favorite Irwin Center memory? Send us that. And then also I want to know, because bowl season does start tomorrow, how many bowl games will you watch? How many bowl games are you planning to watch this bowl season? Are you just going to watch the big ones? You're going to try and watch 5 or 6 or 7? Are you going to be 25, 30? Do you just going to sit and watch college football all day because bowl season and you don't care, they don't matter? What are you going to say? How many bowl games do you anticipate yourself watching? And we don't need an exact number, unless you can say, I'm going to watch 2. I'm going to watch 2 Texas bowl games, and that's it. I'm watching them win, and I'm watching them win. You can say that as well. How many bowl games are you watching this season? All right, when we come back, we're going to get into some NBA, some of your text messages. Keep the show rolling here on the Sports Complex, 1019 AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Back on the Sports Complex here on the Horn. It's a 512 Friday where we play bands you can go check around town that are local bands playing here in town this weekend. This is the Bell Sounds. They are playing tonight at the ABGB. If you want to go out there and maybe get some pizza and some nice beer and enjoy some great music from the Bell Sounds playing at the ABGB tonight.
That sounds like a good evening.
It is a good evening. It's always a good evening when you support local music in the town of Austin, Texas.
100%.
It was. I tell you though, it was funny last night of how much there's people, and we, like I'll see people and we haven't seen each other in a year or two, and you hugging and you're talking, and then we all just we don't go downtown much anymore.
Right.
And every time you do, it's just reminiscing about how we were growing up, and it was like, yeah, it's way different now, isn't it? Like where I was parked used to be just a parking lot, not a parking garage in a giant building with with apartments and everything.
Right.
You're like, well, that used to be just it was a lot,
just space.
Yeah, there's a food truck where it was, and that's when I used to come back here when I was a young man.
Oh,
just
man.
Old man talking over there all last night. Let's get text lines open, by the way, 512-447-3776. We're asking what your favorite Irwin Center memory is, and also how many ball games will you watch? Just a guesstimate.
Depends on how many I'm betting on.
But there's the thing: are you like Saturday? Are you sitting down and watching bowl games, or
because there's an NFL triple header.
I'm aware, but I'm saying, but maybe our listeners. I'm asking them.
Yeah.
Are you sitting and watching bowl games? Or are you going to watch as many, and then throughout the week on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when you get those bowl games? There's nothing, there may be nothing else you're trying to watch on those days. Are you going to watch those, or are you literally let's watch the big ones? I don't care, especially transfer portal now and people going to the pros. I don't need to watch backups play.
I don't need to watch backups at okay to average schools play.
Yeah,
I'm not interested.
We'll say Boise State tonight. That the guy who's playing quarterback for Boise State, CJ Spiller, has not thrown a pass this season.
He took some snaps.
But
he didn't throw a pass. Yeah,
he's a freshman. He has not thrown a pass in college football. So look, he may be great. We do know. I can tell you, Texas fans know firsthand that there are some freshmen that can really ruin your day. When we played OU and beat Spencer Rattler so bad that they had to put in Caleb Williams to just throw the game, and they came back and won. We all know that as Texas fans. I don't want to remind you of that.
Oh, did that happen? I'd forgotten.
So it can happen. That's part of watching it. But sometimes you watch it and you get through the first quarter and you go, hey, he's not any good.
Like, oh, okay, that's why he wasn't playing.
Yeah, you're going to be hitting the transfer portal hard for a quarterback, aren't you? Now I do want to talk some NBA action. There were some teams last night. There was some NBA news. Daryl Morey receives a contract extension because people in the NBA have not learned that Daryl Morey is not a championship GM. He's not going to win you a championship.
Oh, you don't like this?
I cannot stand Daryl Morey. I think he's bad for basketball. And I get it. Cool. He's not with the Spurs, so go off and do whatever you want with your stupid analytics.
Sure.
And the thing where you're just like, he was part of him and D'Antoni, part of that stupid, you only got to shoot threes and layups. That's it. And you're like, cool, that doesn't win you championships.
Is that the same mindset that said we don't need a center?
No, but it's it. I mean, this positionless basketball is coming up more and more now.
Yeah.
But it's the concept of we need everybody to stretch out. And you go, yeah, there's some truth to it. But when you look at analytics and you forget to take out the fact that the analytics only work because you're doing the other things. So if you say, well, the three-pointer is more effective if you do this. And you go, well, okay, yeah, but it's effective because people don't just play you super hard on the edge, because you can take a two-step shot and hit a mid-range. Right. You'll dominate them with the mid-range. Yeah. But when you take the mid-range out and all they have to do is put a protector by the rim, then it doesn't work anymore against certain teams. You can't be a one-dimensional team, and that's what he makes to people. And look, I don't think the 76ers are going to win a championship before they completely implode and they have to trade off Embiid because he's going to threaten to walk.
Oh, no.
Because this is the problem with Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey doesn't know how to make human connections with people. The only guy who's ever really his big friend was James Harden. James Harden is not a guy who's best friends with anybody.
Right. Well,
so
they're not friends anymore.
They're not. That's what I'm saying, because all it was he just took care of him and let him do whatever he wanted to do. I just don't get, I get that people are like, well, look what trade he did. He got rid of Ben Simmons.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was a big one.
And he did. He got him for a guy that then demanded a trade, and they got a bad trade out of the Clippers. And he did, he didn't actually save the day on any of it. He made a trade where you went, wow, if we just look solely at stats and not how this is going to affect our team, then great.
Right. Numbers can tell any story you want them to as long as you frame them the right way.
But that's the thing. The numbers is not how you win at basketball. At the end of the day, you still have to have a team that is a cohesive unit.
Right.
And Daryl Morey does not know any of that side of it. And he will just switch out coaches to try and get guys that will agree with him and do what he wants to do. I'm not a fan of him in his how he builds teams.
Okay.
It never feels like he is building a team that really is going to go do things. And the whole, we're not going to trade Maxey. Okay, fine. But don't then come out and say, we want Dame Lillard. We're not trading Maxey. Forget it. Say, we're not trading Maxey, so we can't get Dame Lillard.
Sure. No, I will say they did make it so that his contract now aligns with Nick Nurse. So I think this is more of ownership telling him, like, this is your last chance.
No, I get it.
Like,
but I would have said I would have kept Nick Nurse and got. But then again, I'm somebody who is not a fan of what Daryl Morey does.
Sure.
I know Rockets fans will be like, if we didn't get hurt, ifs, ands, and buts, you were never going to win a championship with James Harden. You just weren't.
Ouch.
You weren't. He's not a championship player.
He disappears in playoffs.
He's not a championship GM.
Yep.
Those guys do not do like if you look at what matters in Golden State, why Golden State could do it is because they had Steph Curry. And Steph Curry is the type of guy who's a championship player. He knows how to share the ball properly, and he knows how to take over the game. He knows how to do it. James Harden knows how to do all that, but he doesn't try to.
Okay, that's fair. Steph Curry also has an impeccable timing. He knows what the game needs right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I get some people will get mad at that and not agree with that take, and that's fine. I know there's people that love what Daryl Morey does and love the analytics and love that game.
3 straight Eastern Conference semifinals in his 3 years with the Sixers.
Yeah. How many finals wins do they have? They can't win the big ones, right?
Oh.
They can't win the big ones. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. Like, I get it, but LeBron James is better record than Daryl Morey.
That's true.
Like, we look at the great coaches, great general managers, they do those things that get you championship wins. So it's one of those I see every time, and I see it. Every time I see him enlisted as a great general manager, you're like, he's not, though.
Now that you think about it, I've never once considered the 76ers over the last 3 seasons as a team that I think could win the finals.
No, and we saw that he got a guy in Joel Embiid, who I like Joel Embiid. He's a really good player, but he gave up in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
All that mattered was winning that MVP, and as soon as he won the MVP, and that's a perfect summation of the guy that Daryl Morey wants. Is a guy who all he wants is that MVP.
Because his numbers look good.
And he goes, I'm going to win that MVP, and I'm going to get a big contract. And you go, no, but we want the guy who's like, I won the MVP on the way to win a title. That's what I want.
Right.
Like, you want the Giannis or the Steph Curry or whatever, and he just goes, no, look, I'll win that because I'm really good. But the main goal is winning. Like, why are people mad at Shohei Ohtani right now? Because the dude gave up a bunch of money. He didn't give it up. He deferred the money because he said, I want to win and I want to give us the best shot to win.
They're mad at him because he highlighted what a joke the MLB's salary situation is.
Which, by the way, there was also someone brought up a good point. He makes $50 million in endorsements every year.
Goodness.
That's why he doesn't need the money.
Yeah.
It's not that he's $2 million and he's going to live a frugal lifestyle at $2 million a year. No, he makes $50 million a year. So he's already the highest paid athlete in MLB with a $2 million salary.
And then $680 million coming to him over the next 10 years after
crazy.
that. Yeah.
Let's go on and talk a little bit, though. Dallas did play Minnesota last night. We told you before that this is a game that Dallas probably is going to struggle in a little bit because it was 3 out of 4 games in a row. They're just really banged up right now, and Doncic is hurting. He still had 39 points in the game. He's still just an electric player, but did shoot 2 of 7 from 3. Grant Williams shot 1 for 7 from 3. Tim Hardaway Jr. shot 0 for 7 from 3.
Ooh.
So Minnesota has a good 3-point defense.
Pulling?
Minnesota plays really good 3-point defense. And if you're a team that is normally hitting 40% of your 3-pointers,
right,
you don't think, oh, no, they're just playing this really good defense. You think it's eventually going to go down, but they're tired, they're beat up, and then you have a really good defensive team. So we thought Minnesota. The crazy part was Naz Reid coming off the bench for Minnesota, gets 27 points, leads all scorers. Minnesota comes out at the end, too, which is another shot of this is just a tired Mavs team. There's absolutely no reason to worry about this Mavs team because of this loss. It's literally they're just tired and banged up.
Yeah.
Because they got outscored 32-19 in that fourth quarter. When you're banged up and hurt and tired, that's when that matters. I think there is the worry of you really need when Kyrie's come back to kind of pull back on Luka a little.
Well, also, and there's going to take how many games does that take to gel? So, like, you need him back sooner rather than later.
But they've played together a couple years. This is their second. They've had an off season. They probably worked out a ton during the off season.
Yeah, but anytime someone's out for a little bit and you play some games in between there, it takes a minute.
No, I agree. I get you. But I'm not too worried about that with Dallas versus Dallas. That game, we told you they were going to lose because of what it was, and that was exactly what happened. They are going to come back and they play again on Saturday, and they should be able to win that game. Also, we get tonight, though, some good games tonight. The Lakers are 7.5-point favorites against the Spurs. LeBron James should be back in this game. He was not playing in the game on Wednesday.
He's not even on the injury report. Neither is AD.
I thought they were both listed as questionable, which they have been basically all season.
Okay, I was looking at it just a second ago. I didn't see either of them listed on.
They may be pulled off by now, but yesterday they were on it. But he should be back for this game. It seems as if that this is an easy win for the Lakers.
I don't know. That first matchup was pretty good.
Look, it was. If the Spurs want to play in the first half, it'll be at least manageable. But it'll be a fun matchup because we do get to see LeBron versus Wemby, which is always fun. And Wemby tends to show up when he's playing against really good players.
Well, I'll tell you what was cool is when his ego got tested because AD dunked on him and made him look small, and Wemby woke up after that. Yeah. He answered the call. It was really cool to watch.
It was good. So we'll see that game tonight. That's a 6:30 game. Also tonight, Rockets are 3.5-point favorites at the Grizzlies. We will see. This is the question. Can the Rockets take it on the road? They have been really good at home, not as great on the road, but Ja Morant is not back yet. He comes back on Tuesday for the Grizzlies.
Okay.
So this is the very end of it. And then the Rockets, we know, they are one of the, just like we talked about the Timberwolves, a very good 3-point defenders. Can Desmond Bane shoot the ball against this Rockets defense? That's what the Grizzlies need to have any shot in this game because we know Jaren Jackson Jr. will be able to go in there. He's been playing out of this world lately. But it's basically him and Desmond Bane as the two guys trying to put up any points.
It's not sustainable.
And if he's able to hit threes, that's what Desmond Bane does. If he's not, then this game does not get close. Also, something to watch out for is Tari Eason. If he's able, we talked about it, he scored 25 last game, 18 the game before that. He's averaging about 9 points a game. Does he, again, put up some good numbers and keep going and become a really, really vital part of this team off the bench?
I will say this. Last time Rockets were on the road, since we're talking about how they're a home team, they beat the Nuggets, defending NBA champions, 114-106 in Denver.
Yeah, no, they can. It's the question of how can they keep going with that. We'll also see that for them on Sunday. They play the Bucks on Sunday. That is another road game for them, so that's another test. Can they guard the three against Dame Lillard? Can they go on that? We'll get to see. Dylan Brooks versus Giannis.
Yep, that'll be fun.
Which is going to make Giannis all mad. And then we also get on Sunday Pelicans and Spurs. We did not see in the last matchup. Wemby did not play against the Pelicans in New Orleans.
Right.
So we should see Zion versus Wemby.
How is that dynamic going to work?
Well,
that's going to be.
Well, one is like if you stretched out Zion,
and the other one is if you condensed.
Yes,
Wemby.
Like when you take a picture and you shrink it down or pull it out. I always love that with band photos. When a band, you could tell it was just like a bunch of short, fat guys.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see the picture and you're like, man, that sign back there looks kind of weird. Like the other stuff in the picture, you can clearly tell. Yeah, the guitar is real wide in it. But they're just trying to make it look like they're taller and skinnier.
Yeah.
You're like, man, come on. And this is also done well before Photoshop could do what it does now. I'm talking about they'd hand out little flyers and you get them and you'd be like, dude, no.
Yeah,
you're handing this to me. I can see who you are.
They got all sorts of generative AI now. You can do it seamlessly.
Seamlessly. Yeah. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's get to the text line 512-447-3776. What's your favorite Irwin Center memory? We talked about it a little last week. I want to talk about it now because it's a Friday. It seems like a fun conversation to have. And then also, how many ball games do you intend to watch? I'm just curious. I'm just curious for you guys on the text line. If you're somebody who really wants to watch ball games, if you're into it, you're ready to go with it, or you're somebody that says, literally, two. I want to watch two. I want to watch Texas win twice. That's what I want to watch.
Ooh, I like that answer.
All right, maybe I'll watch it on New Year's Day, but I don't care until New Year's Day. That may be the answer too. Whatever it is, let us know on the text line 512-447-3776. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will get into those answers and those texts when we come back right here in the Sports Complex on the Horn 1019 AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Back on the Sports Complex here on the Horn. It's 512 Friday where we play local bands you can go check out around town this weekend. This is Big Wise Brass Band. They're playing tonight at Swan Dive.
Ooh, brass band.
Yeah, get some horns out there.
That's always good to hear the horns.
It's always good to hear the horns. I believe one of the guys from here was at Jelly Jam last night. We're having a good old time. Yeah. But yeah, so you can check them out tonight at Swan Dive if you want to get out there and go see a band and go see some cool stuff. You know, it's one of those cool things in Austin. Not every band sounds the exact same anymore. Like, you know, it used to be a lot of bands sounded very similar.
You don't get a lot of horns these days, yeah.
I mean, there's more horns in Austin now than there used to be because, you know, and a lot of people go to Texas and they play, you know, horn at Texas. They play, or you'll get North Texas people who come down to Austin and you get some like really good horn players that are part of the scene there. And then, you know, they want to keep playing music and bands go, man, well, you know, we'd be good with horns, man.
We could really use a horn.
How much money you need? I got $8.
We'll buy you a meal.
That's for the whole horn section. You got to split that up, man. Let's get to text time. 512-447-3776. 512-447-3776 is the text line number. We're asking you what's your favorite Irwin Center memory since it is being torn down and getting rained on today and everything else. And we're also asking you how many ball games you're going to watch and anything else. You want to put your predictions for 2024 Texas football schedule, put that one in there as well. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about here on the text line. My man, Chief Engineer, says the Raiders to the Super Bowl. Just kidding. Was expecting to lose out for the draft picks. No, I you know, you have an interim coach that wants to win, and Mark Davis doesn't feel like the guy who would try and lose out for the draft pick. I think Mark Davis is the guy who's like, we can cheat for the draft pick. We can do that. We'll do that later. We'll pay for that.
Yeah. That's no problem. Yeah.
We do have, he also says, lost to Georgia, maybe Michigan. The rest should be easy. I think looking at talent on the paper, injuries will play a big role in it. So, of course, yes, we know injuries, and we don't know who's going to be on every team yet. Like, we don't know who could be our starting quarterback. Still changing. Our wide receivers.
Our wide receivers are definitely changing.
Defensive line, changing.
Oh.
Like, there's a lot that is going on with Texas, and that's just us, much less all these other teams. We can't say that. But we're just kind of looking at consistency, what we feel is going to be happening. And so we're going to go, we both had one loss on ours. I'm only interested in the late NFL game other than that college ball. Okay. I think Saturday, we're going to talk about it here in the 6 o'clock or the 5 o'clock, but the NFL slate on Saturday is actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a good slate on Saturday.
A lot of implications.
And you say favorite Irwin Center memory, Pantera, and I want to say Rage Against the Machine. Could be wrong about that. It was a few bands. I want to say a substance experiment phase. Pantera Slam, though, must have been 25 years ago. Was young enough to get in the pit. A ton of friendly aggression back in the day when you would pick someone up, you're knocking them on their butt. And it was Pantera, so it had to be a while ago.
It was a little while ago. I love the friendly aggression.
The friendly aggression, the friendly aggressions. And I don't like analytics for basketball. There is no shift for a left-handed shooter, and baseball, and more than other sports. It depends on who has a hot right hand. I agree. And also Tower of Power. Tower of Power is awesome. There's a band here in Austin called Extreme Heat. If you like Tower of Power. Which I think the singer actually just moved to Colorado, but he'll be back and they'll play some shows here.
Ooh, Extreme Heat.
Extreme Heat. They've been around for 40 years in Austin.
Really?
But they sound very similar to Tower of Power. You check them out. Cool band. Rod Guy from New Mexico says, I agree with you. I think the hardest game we have next season will be Georgia. However, I can also see them pulling that game out. Look, they can. We got to see where everybody lands, but they could. I don't think there's a game they are necessary. There's no. Texas is not at the point where you go, well, that's definitely a loss.
I like the Georgia game because they're at home. The only factor for Michigan, because we don't know the rosters, is it's in Ann Arbor.
It's in Ann Arbor.
Tough.
It's hard to go to Tuscaloosa and then Ann Arbor years back to back, but who knows?
Yeah, no one gets that much from the college football gods. No one gets that much.
It just made it seem like every NCAA football team has somebody with the last name Spiller on the team. Yeah, it's a requirement.
Oh, is it?
That's how you get your 86 scholarship.
That's why they couldn't pay the left tackle. Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it is. Most, if not all, bowl games will be on, but most of them is background noise. You'll probably watch around 10 to 15 games. All right.
That's fair. That's actually probably closer to what I'll do. Is it'll be on, but I won't be actively paying attention.
Yeah, like that'll be a lot of weekday games too.
Right.
A lot of those weekday with like a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll have a basketball game on and I'll have that on.
Right.
And you just be like, oh, let's just see what's going on. And if it's a good game, fourth quarters. I'll be checking like fourth quarters. I'll probably watch more of.
Tell you what, I'll be
If
watching.
it's a good game, I'll watch a good fourth quarter. But I don't necessarily need to watch 3 hours of two teams I don't care about without the guys I care about.
No, I'll be watching for a lot of trick plays. I want to see which coaches are going deep into that bag of tricks for these bowl games. That'll be exciting.
Patrick, how do you think Texas won't be up for Georgia? Also, Texas is also losing a lot, most likely. Yes, I think Texas is going to lose a lot, but they may keep Quinn Ewers, which would be a huge part in keeping consistency across that edge. And everybody loses a lot. When you're a good team, you lose. Georgia loses a lot of players every year, and they come back and are really good.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. You want that kind of that attrition's there. And how do I feel they're not going to get up? I think they're going to get up. I don't know if they'll get up to the level that they need to get up to
get to Georgia.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I think they get up for everybody, but that get up is it's hard when you're at home and everything's going on to flip that switch from I'm playing for my fans to I don't give a crap. I want to go beat the crap out of this guy. I want to commit a crime on that field with everybody watching.
Oh, wow.
That's the level you have to be. Well, for offensive, defensive linemen.
Oh, no, I know. It's an emotional
that's a battle.
game.
Like, you're playing Georgia because Georgia is going to kind of commit a crime on you.
Are they?
Yes. They're going to try and break your legs.
Are we talking about swinging helmets at people?
No, not cheating. Not cheating.
Okay.
But getting your hands listed as registered weapons because of how bad you're going through. I'm just saying, that's why I think it's a hard one. It's a hard one for Texas, and they've shown the best. Now, hopefully, the culture is building them back up, and they will be a better team that getting up for those games. Like, they're going to care. They want to be there, but there's a lot of difference of talking about being up for it and actually being up for it.
Right.
They're two different things. And when you're on the road, there is a bit more where you're separated from everything a little bit more.
You can be more focused.
Yeah, and you're around your teammates, and you're all kind of one goal. But with that walkthrough be with Bulver and all that other stuff, it's just and game day will be there and all that other. It's
also easier to create an enemy out of the other team when you're on the road.
Yeah.
Like, hey, nobody here's gonna like us anyway.
Yeah, and everybody's booing you, and you're like, okay, I have to prove everybody wrong.
Right.
It's just a weird thing, and they could be. You could be 100% right. But I know, and also again, we're talking about way out. We're talking about a year from now. So who knows? Who knows what'll happen then? Let's go to Lorenzo. He says, now don't judge me when I tell you this because I know I'm going to show my age. My favorite memory of the Irwin Center was the first time when I bought a concert tickets for Jagged Edge and Next and Destiny's Child. That's not Destiny's Child. That's
not that old.
That's not that old at all, Lorenzo. That's younger than me, I would believe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to tell me age, the first concert I probably ever saw was Rod Stewart. Now, I was a kid when I did it, but I saw Rod Stewart. That will tell you more age.
Okay.
So Rod Stewart at the Irwin Center.
That's fair. But that's not that old. Destiny's Child?
No, Destiny's Child. No. I mean, pre Beyonce is again. You're like was she before that? But yeah, no, that was already. I was already an adult then, so I'm with you. Don't worry. You're still a young spry man there, Lorenzo. My man Joe from Brody Lane says, my voice sounds pretty smooth today. I thought it would sound really bad. Joe was at the
That's not what it says.
Joe is, I can't say the words that it says.
That's not what it says.
Joe should know better than to text me words I can't say on the radio. I was talking to Joe last night at the Christmas Jam, and so he knows why he thought it would sound worse because he heard my voice last night. And it was not great at the end of the night.
I'm just saying, don't put words in our listeners' mouths. You got to read the text as they come in.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to read cuss words on the air, Jacob. Why are you trying to get me kicked off the air?
I'm not.
Trying to get me kicked off the air, station shut down. That's Jacob, what he wants from you. Don't text in cuss words then, people.
I'm just trying to create a moment. That's all I want. Shame on me, right?
A moment that the two of us get because I hit the dump button. One more text real quick, and then we got to take a quick break, and we'll come back and get to more of your text messages. I'm only watching Texas game. The rest don't matter to me, and my best memory will be watching my firstborn walk the stage. Very cool stuff.
That's awesome.
I did a high school graduation was at the Irwin Center. Did not care. Still don't get why high school graduations were a big deal. For me, I never did not care.
Yeah,
I was so
Cedar
done
Park
with high school
Center.
by the time I got done with it. Cedar Park Center did not exist when I graduated.
Oh, sorry.
So we did not do it there.
Sorry.
We did it at the Irwin Center. If you want to take our age again.
Sorry.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, more of your text message at 512-447-3776. We're asking you, what is your favorite memory of the Irwin Center, and how many ball games will you watch this season? Anything else you want to talk about, tell us on the text line. We'll come back, hit that, and some NFL news, big firing, pick some games for the weekend, get you ready for a weekend of sports. Coming back here on the Sports Complex in the Horn 1019 AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Hour 2 here on the Sports Complex on a Friday afternoon, inching closer and closer and closer to the weekend. We're going to get to some NFL talk here. We'll talk about Brandon Staley and how I've been said he's going to be fired for a long time. And finally, Las Vegas Raiders made it too embarrassing.
They hired Brandon Staley.
They had to show that they did not have the worst coach, which I think they still did. But they got fired their coach, and their interim coach got another coach fired.
Ooh.
I don't know how many times that's happened. I think Jeff Saturday may have done that at one point, but
possibly.
We're going to get into that. Some picks for you for the weekend as well. See what we get into as we keep going. And, of course, your text, 512-447-3776, asking you what's your favorite Frank Irwin Center memory, and also asking you how many bowl games will you watch. I'm just curious. I'm curious if you guys are fanatics who are going to watch as many as you possibly can, or you're two. You are Texas and Texas. Because I'm saying two, I'm not saying one.
I like the other answer we got earlier. I will watch most of them.
Yeah.
But I won't actively watch it. I'll passively
It'll
watch
be on.
it.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I'll probably watch a lot of fourth quarters.
Okay.
Like I'll be checking the scores and kind of have it on, and just see like the game cast on while I'm doing something else.
Right.
And then if you're like, okay, it's a good game, I'll turn it on.
Yeah. No.
In the second half at some point, but I don't know if I'm going to make 3-hour commitments to watch games. But if it's a good game, I'll watch the end of the game.
Sure, that's fair.
I also watch a ton of basketball, and so I'll be watching basketball games. But if you're watching, if I'm watching a 45-point Spurs loss, I mean, flip over to something else.
That's fair. Yeah. No, that's what I was about to get into. Is this the time of year where I finally get to kind of take college football off my plate, my viewing schedule, and I get to insert basketball? So we'll get to really dig my teeth into that.
We'll get there. All right. Back in the text line, my man Chan says, I shall watch a handful of games, primarily the Big 12 teams. That makes sense, too. A lot of people watch what you're more, you've played against them. You kind of want to see how they end out their season because you look at them like Texas Tech playing tonight. It's more interesting because we played against Texas Tech recently.
Yeah.
See what Taj Brooks can do if he goes out and has a 250-yard game. And then you say, all right, man, Taj Brooks, wasn't it great when we kind of held him in check?
Well, he had 95 yards. I wouldn't say we held him in check, but we held him under 100, which no one else was doing. Yeah, that's fair. But they've also been stewing on a 50-point loss since the last time they were on the football field. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see how they come out.
Yes. He also says, definitely should watch Texas. Malik is a good fit there at Michigan in most Big Ten schools. I think Malik a great fit at a lot of places. I don't know if I think the problem with Michigan for a lot of people is there's a real uncertainty about your coach being there.
Yes.
And I think that is, for a lot of guys, maybe a hindrance of, I don't want to commit to there. And then immediately Jim Harbaugh goes to the NFL on January 10th.
Yeah, and why do I want to go play for the program that Harbaugh built up to prominence if Harbaugh's not going to be there?
Exactly. So that may be one of it. We did have a texter that mentioned that apparently some of the official visits for Malik Murphy are Oregon State, which I hate.
Yes.
I know they were good this year. They're not in the Pac. They're not in the Power 5. They're in the Pac-2. They're not in the Power 5 anymore. So I don't like it in that because I feel like it's a step down because they're basically playing Mountain West teams. So he put up numbers, but no one will care.
But that's his out West option, right?
That's his out West option. I think there's going to be other out West
options.
There will. I think he has official visits. Again, I say UCLA is a team that he could go visit them after tonight.
I like that one a lot.
Because UCLA, I think a lot of these teams, they don't, they're more focused right now on their bowl game, and they're doing that, and they'll move on. But yeah, so there's also Baylor, which is an interesting one. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think maybe as a California guy, he doesn't realize how far Waco is from Austin, and I don't mean that in geographical terms. I mean that in everything else. That means that if he goes, I really like Central Texas, and you're like, all right, but just gonna let you know, get in the time machine and head on over to Waco. It's a nice place for what it is, but if I was a college kid and I was comparing the campus of Baylor to the campus of UT, I would say they're not quite the same thing.
Yeah, cover your ears, Harge, if you're listening. Sorry. We don't.
The 254.
We don't. Yeah, cover your ears, Harge. My bad.
It's just, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows we ain't lying.
He's from there. He knows.
We ain't lying. Hey, and he lives here now, don't he?
Yeah, right. He doesn't live in Waco. Yeah.
And then also Duke, which Duke is an interesting one. He can put up really big numbers at Duke. It's a coast team as well. It's not his coast, but it is a coast team.
Yep.
They're over there in Carolina. It's also a really good school for getting an education at. So something that he could go look at as, okay, there's a great place for me to continue my education. Went to a great school in the University of Texas at Austin, and I'm going to go to a great school at Duke that's another interesting place to go visit and see how you feel over there with Riley Leonard leaving.
I like that one a lot because I think he saw what Riley Leonard got to do and kind of the exposure he got by being a great player at Duke, which is it's a great program. It's not an elite program. You don't consider them elite, and I think he can do a lot of really good things over there. I like that one a lot.
Today, I will not watch any bowl game that comes on ABC. I have DirecTV. Get yourself some antennas. Get yourself some bunny ears. You can watch ABC without DirecTV. You can get it. They're bunny ears. They sell them at Walmart for like $10.
They've got streaming a la carte options too.
You can also ESPN. If you have ESPN Plus, then ESPN Plus will carry.
That's right, because ABC is an ESPN
property, so they're all owned by Disney, so they can do that. I get that. I get it's annoying with DirecTV. I understand that, but there are ways around it.
There are.
There's no excuse to not watch games, guys.
Yeah,
I find ways to find things.
DirecTV does not have leverage over you. Remember,
but channel 24.1 will get you ABC.
Oh.
If you go on the bunny ears, you put in the bunny ears, your TV finds it 24.1, it will give you ABC.
Gotta go smack the TV a couple times.
You don't. It's all digital. You know it's digital now, right?
Yes, I do know
it's digital. There's no fuzziness. Also, you're sooner, so you can text your friends and annoy them because you're not on a streaming office anymore.
Ooh, I hate that. I always have to turn my phone over during Cowboy games.
Yeah, and then you hear a buzz and you go, oh, I don't know if it's good or bad.
Oh, I just check to see who sent it. And then
what's really funny is when that happens, you don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's good or bad. And then nothing happens and you check your phone. It's like an email you got.
Right.
Like, oh.
Or it's like an ESPN update on another game.
Yeah. Like, oh, I don't know what that was.
Oh, thank God. All right.
Let's say I'll watch the playoff games. That's it. All right. Appreciate that honesty. And Springsteen in 84 played Twist and Shout, Beatles for an encore. The mezzanine was moving up and down noticeably. Never forget it. I like that. That's a good one. Back in the day, I know that I've had some friends that went and saw him not that long ago, few years ago now, probably.
Really?
Springsteen at, I don't know, I guess it was still the Irwin Center, at the very end of the Irwin Center. They said it was an amazing show, even though it did not sound great.
Okay, I was going to ask if he could still sing. Yeah.
No. The Irwin Center just never sounded great.
Oh,
like we were at the point where at the end of the Irwin Center, you would have heard better concerts at that point.
Oh.
And you were just like, this is not great. That's one of the reasons why they needed to move it, because people don't want to play there as much.
That's
because they're like, we want to play in Austin, but this building is not great.
This is bad for our perception. Yeah.
He sounded like Jimmy Hart up there on the mic last night. Appreciate you, Joe. The mouth of the South. I did not have my megaphone in doing that. At the drum, UT fall of 87. Bono shined a spotlight on me as I waved the white flag. All right.
Cool.
I've never bought a flag to a concert.
I don't bring props. Yeah.
I've not. I used to. No, I remember when I was a kid, we went to see a band and I made my parents give me a lighter so I could hold up a lighter for an encore.
Nice.
Because I really wanted to do it, and then I burned my finger. I was like, this is stupid.
Now we just use phones.
Then we use phones. Yeah. We didn't have cell phones when I was.
What?
I know. I mean, they existed, but we didn't have them.
How did y'all? I don't understand.
Got to see Rush at the Dog Bowl like that. My last Frank Irwin Center was Jamie Foxx stand-up. Then he sang like 3 or 4 songs at the end, and I remember graduating there too. We were always like, why? No one knew where to park. Could have kept that at the gym or Dragon Stadium where we played all the football games anyway. Yeah, no, in Westwood, yeah. You, Julian, from Westwood, that was Westwood. I went there too. We graduated at the Irwin Center. I think it was just a big, like, they're like, hey, look, we're at this big building and it's great. Yeah, but it was annoying to get down there and you had to get down there early. I know it's an unpopular opinion.
What's that?
That I did not care one bit. My mom was mad because I was like, I'm not going.
To graduation?
To graduation. I was like, I don't care.
Oh,
and she was not thrilled with me that I was like, I don't. She's like, you're going. And
yeah, because it's not for you.
I know. And that's at now I understand that.
Yeah.
Until like 30, I was like, it's still. And honestly, for me personally, I still would never have done it. I do not care one bit.
But believe me, it wasn't.
I get for other people, they were like this. And I'm like, you come on. I was going to graduate high school. I mean, it wasn't always a given, but I felt like I was.
The ceremony is not for the student because, believe me, the student knows how hard it was. They went through it. It's for the parent.
It's not hard. I went through that with minimal effort.
Oh,
minimal effort.
Come on.
I'm not a big fan of school. Every day when I wake up and realize I never have to do it again, happier day.
That is a good feeling. No day at work is worse than the best day at school.
No, the best day at school was when the teacher was hungover. Turn off the lights and play a movie. Irwin Center Memories, Journey with Steve Perry, Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, yes, I'm old. Texas 2 bowl games. We'll watch in full. Big D from Big D Torres. Like that. Yeah. A lot of people, that's what I said. I think a lot of people are going to be like, I'm going to watch my team, but the rest I don't really care about. I think that's kind of normal.
Sorry, bowl season.
We can laugh out loud. I think that's for me dissing on Waco.
Ooh.
I spent $60 on Rabbit Ears for Big 12 Championship. I did not get any channels on 24 or 36. Okay, we'll tell you this too. You have to move the Rabbit Ears and point them in different directions because you need to point them in the directions, or you put it over to a window and get it pointed in the right direction. If you point it towards and you get the Rabbit Ears pointed towards the towers, it'll work.
And if it doesn't work, just smack your flat screen.
Don't smack the antenna. But yes, if you move the antenna around, you can get better. You can get different signals. Trust me, I've done it. I have to do it. I've had antennas running across rooms before, but I've always gotten the game.
There you go.
I've always gotten the game. Let's talk some NFL real quick, and we'll get back to the text line there. And appreciate you, Kevin from Malgan. I'm just telling you, I've worked on these. I've done it because I've had to watch sports, and I've had very little money at points in my life.
There you go.
And I will find a way to make it work.
Sure.
And I'm also the guy at the party when they're like, "Oh, I guess we don't get the game." I'm like, yes, we do.
Yes, we do. I will find a way.
Big news that came out after the Raiders trounced the Chargers 63-21, and it wasn't that close.
No.
It wasn't as close as 63-21. That is a misnomer of how much of a blowout this was.
When I turned it on, it was 63-7.
Yes. Brandon Staley was relieved of his duty. They fired the general manager as well. They've gotten rid of a couple other coaches. He had basically, I think Brandon Staley, this was too much too soon. He kind of moved up in the ranks very quickly. He spent 1 year as a DC in Los Angeles, the Rams with Sean McVay, and then got the head coaching gig. He never seemed to have that team going on the level. If you look at his ranks of his defense, he's a defensive coach. They were always in the bottom, fourth of the league.
Ouch.
In total defense.
God.
He was not a good defensive coach there, and for whatever reason, if it was scheme or players or whatever he could, they got good players. They got everything he could want, and he just could never make it work. He's 24-24 is what his head coaching record is.
And he fumbled away the playoffs.
An 0-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
24-24 with that roster. With a star quarterback.
It doesn't make sense.
With 2 star wide receivers. With a star running back.
With stud edge rushers.
Stud edge rushers that they traded for.
Sense.
For defensive backs that they paid a lot of money for.
Right.
All of that. And he was able to go 24-24 in LA.
His magical solution? Les Eckler. Genius.
Les Eckler was going to do it.
Genius.
So we saw all of that. Kellen Moore is not named the interim. There's different reports. I did read a couple of places. No idea how proper this is. That Kellen Moore may have turned down the interim coach.
Really?
Because he did not want to put that on a head coaching record. Because he still would like to be a head coach somewhere else in the future. And I don't know if he intends to be the head coach here next year or whatever. But he doesn't want to take over a team without a quarterback that is down and out and just go, look, I get it. We got a few games left. I don't want my resume to start with, well, he was there, and then they lost 3 more games, and he sucks. Don't hire him.
And the offense totaled 100 yards across those 3 games.
But I want to ask you this, because you are a Cowboys fan, and I've always been one that I was not a huge Kellen Moore guy. I never thought he was able to use Dak the way Dak needed to be used. I think he tried to be a quarterback, and he tried to live through Dak and play the game the way Kellen Moore wants to play the game, not the way Dak Prescott needs to.
Okay.
Now that we've seen that he was able to put up those great numbers with Dak Prescott, and they put up a lot of points against bad teams but couldn't quite win the big ones, and that Dak Prescott was considered not the quarterback he needed to be, and people were wanting to move on from Dak. He leaves, goes to LA. The Cowboys now, Dak Prescott is second or first in MVP odds.
Yep.
They're killing it right now. They're still putting up those points, still playing great offense without him. And the Chargers are not in the playoffs. Doing terrible. Could not get this offense running. Austin Eckler went from a great running back to a terrible running back. He basically didn't fix anything. He only made the run game worse. Is Kellen Moore now need to take a step back, and everybody has to take a step back from Kellen Moore? Not saying he's done as a coach or anything like that, but, people are still saying that he could be up for head coaching jobs next year. And if I'm looking at this, I go, he hasn't shown me anything. Because I wasn't a huge fan when he was doing things before. I thought the team had a lot of talent on it, and he was doing okay. He's not bad, but I'm not giving him a head coaching job.
So I think there's a couple things to consider there, right? Because Dak was still putting up the numbers with
he
Kellen.
was.
True.
On bad teams.
On bad teams, and a lot of it was in garbage time situations where the Cowboys were already down by quite a bit. So those numbers are inflated. You can't tell a whole lot from that. The big number you need to look at is the turnovers. And I think that leads back to your point of how he was coaching Dak of this is the read. This is where you hit.
Yes.
This is the read. This is the play. And
This
Dak,
is what I would do. This is
Right.
what I would do.
Dak
It's like,
Dak would drop back and fire it into a hole that wasn't there because
Yeah.
that was the read.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Mike McCarthy empowers him and all that. This season with the Chargers is a little tough to tell for
I
Kellen
agree.
Moore.
I don't want to put that all on
Because Justin
him.
Herbert wasn't right all year. He had the middle
Yeah.
finger injury, and then the
I
offensive
agree.
line was Swiss cheese at times.
And look, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that this should be the end of I think Kellen Moore should get other opportunities.
yes.
I just don't think he should move up from this.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think
That's more my point, because the team that I hear, that the team that people are talking about, Kellen Moore possibly, people looking at, he interviewed with them last year.
Ooh, the Dolphins?
No,
No, not the Dolphins.
no, head coach position.
Head coach position. Ooh.
A team that cannot find another coach, probably. A team that's not going to get any tenured coach to go there because they have fired 2 coaches in the midseason already.
Oh.
The Carolina Panthers
Oh,
are
no.
somebody that say, well, we may go get a young coach and try and do this because we tried to get 2 coaches with experience and neither one of them worked out. So we'll go get a young coach and he'll be the guy, and he's an NFL quarterback. We'll get him.
Does he run into the same issue, though, of trying to tell Bryce Young how to play the offense?
That's what I'm
instead
saying.
of-
I don't
right.
think it's a good hire, and I don't think he lasts the season there.
Yeah,
Which, because I think, again, it's the Carolina Panthers not going out and getting the right guy and just, okay, well, maybe this will work. No, throw that toy away. So, but for Kellen Moore, if he wants that head coaching position, he wants to go for it, and he doesn't want to wait for the right job because he knows, hey, man, I shouldn't be getting a head coaching job right now.
Yeah.
Then I don't know. And look, and I'll also give Kellen Moore some credit for the Cowboys' success, that he has helped this offense and all those players that were there with him become better players. And, he's part of their success this season. I don't want to paint the picture that he had nothing to do with it, because he did help raise up Dak and he helped get a lot of guys. So I don't want to, that's the point. I don't want to paint Kellen Moore as a bad coach.
No, Mike even said when he took over, he wasn't erasing what Kellen did.
Exactly.
He was giving Dak more empowerment throughout that offense.
But that's why I think it's an interesting look right now at Kellen Moore and what's going to happen in these next few weeks. If he's going to be able to make Easton Stick or Max Duggan look like they should be allowed to be in the NFL.
Who do you think he runs? Because Easton Stick did look good towards the end of that game, last couple drives. But again, garbage time, right?
They were playing prevent defense with
I
the
know,
practice squad.
I know, and that's what I'm saying is sometimes Kellen Moore's offensive numbers get inflated a little bit.
Yeah, when he goes, hey, man, when they're not guarding your guys, throw it to them.
Yeah, when they're playing 10 yards off, we're running 3-yard slants all day.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting look for Kellen Moore. We will see more as the season plays out. If he's able to get one of these guys to go up, it'll help him out a little bit more. If there was limitations that Brandon Staley is putting on him, and it's something of team culture and all this other stuff, I just don't see. For right now, I don't see how he has a path to a head coaching job that's a decent head coaching job.
Not after this season.
Not after this season. Also after seeing what the Cowboys have done without him.
Yes, it's a bad look.
Let's talk. Let's go with the Texans game, and then we'll stop and we'll take a quick break, and we will go into some of these other games on Saturday. But I want to talk about the Texans first, and we'll jump back to Saturday.
All right.
The Texans are playing the Titans. Titans are 4-point favorites. First of all, screw the Adams family. They're going to be wearing the Oilers stuff against the Texans.
Oh, that is this game, isn't it?
Yep. So screw them. Screw you guys. You're bad people. You're just bad people. You're just bad people for doing that. It should be the city of Houston's. So you're going to come out and do that. C.J. Stroud is out. Will Anderson is out. Nico Collins is doubtful.
Yep.
Blake Cashman is out.
Noah Brown, questionable.
This team for the Texans, I don't imagine. I mean, I don't know how much they're going to try and win this game. I mean, they're going to try, but this feels like a game that you kind of have to just go, look, man, we're just beat up. We just got to take a week to recover. If they win this game, it is going to be brutal, and it is the football gods telling the Adams family that you are the devil for doing this to Houston and trying to rub it in their face that you own them, and you're mad because they didn't give you $1 billion to build a new stadium, so you moved to Tennessee.
Well, there's 2 reasons they're going to try to win the game, and one is those uniforms, and then the second is they're still tied for the lead in the division.
They're not. They're a game back in the
Or
division.
they're a game back in the division.
But they're still
right.
very much in it. They're still very much in it. I agree they're going to try and win. When I say that they're not trying to win, but I don't know how much you can stick the guns out there and push when you're just really, really hurt right now.
Oh, you're hurting. Yeah. But, yeah.
So this game's going to be a matter of, can this defense without Blake Cashman stop Tennessee enough, create mistakes, and I think you need turnovers. You really need to get to Will Levis in this game. If you're able to get to him and get a couple interceptions and get some yardage back and put Texas in field and position, then maybe Davis Mills has a shot.
Yeah, I'd say be careful though, because this Titans defense did hold the Dolphins in check once they got Tyreek Hill off the field last week.
I know.
And they're missing a lot of top options right now.
They are missing all of the top
Yeah.
options.
Dalton Schultz will be there.
Dalton Schultz will be there for Davis Mills.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is I'm wondering, with Dalton Schultz come back from injury, if they're down 14.5, do you see Dalton Schultz in the second half?
Ooh, maybe not.
Like those kind of things. I just think that this could be a game where if it gets away from the Texans early, they just say, okay.
Cut their losses.
Yeah, man, we just need to get healthy.
Yep.
Like, we just never had a shot in this game.
But there's only 4 weeks left in the season.
I
I
get
don't
it.
know. I don't know.
I get it. I get that you don't want to. We'll see in this game. Because I think, again, I'm saying 14.5. And that's a little bit where it's okay. Well, if we're kicking off to the Titans.
Yeah. Do they play the Jags one more time before the season's up?
Yeah. And I believe they play the Colts twice more.
Okay.
So I think so.
All right.
I have to look at that again.
That's the only thing I'd be worried about.
Oh, no, they don't play the Jags again. Sorry.
Okay.
They're 1-1 with the Jags, so they played them twice already.
Okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, they still have some more games that they'll be going up against conference division rivals. The Jags are also, we'll talk about them in a minute, but they're playing a tough game. They could lose this week as well.
Definitely.
The Colts are in a game that is going to be tough as well. We'll talk about all those when we come back, and more of your text messages. We come back here on the Sports Complex in the Horn 1019, AM 1260, the Horn app, and hornfm.com. Back on the Sports Complex here on the Horn. It's 512 Friday where we play local bands. You can go check out around town this weekend. This is Scotty B and the Hive playing Saturday at Saxon Pub.
Wow.
Go check out Scotty B and the Hive.
I like that. I like that name. That's catchy.
Like the name?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, he's a smart guy.
Right.
Knows his marketing.
That's easy to put out there. That rolls right off the tongue. Scotty B and the Hive.
Scotty B and the Hive. Check him out Saturday at Saxon Pub. All right. Let's get back. Let's hit the text line real quick, and then we'll get to these games. But I do try and get to your text line all the time. Scarlett says, those dog days of the offseason were just when I watched football season was here. Wish I was watching football seasons here. I'm getting me some popcorn and watching all the ball games I can, says Scarlett. I like that.
There you go. Take it all in.
Take it all in.
Yeah, because you're right. That offseason is long, man. We don't appreciate it when it's here, but when it's gone, we miss it.
ZZ Top several times. I've also seen ZZ Top several times at the Irwin Center. Rush, Metallica, AC/DC, many concerts there. I did not see AC/DC or Rush. I did see ZZ Top there multiple times.
What a resume.
ZZ Top Rhythmine Tour. Rick Derringer opened. I don't remember Rick Derringer opening. I remember, and I was at that Rhythmine Tour. I know I was there because I have a shirt from it, I think, still.
Well, do you remember you were there?
I was a kid.
Okay.
I was still young enough. Like I have a shirt that probably... So I was a kid, but I was probably 16, 17 maybe.
Sure.
In that, but I thought George Thorogood opened, but maybe that was a different ZZ Top concert. I don't remember. Maybe it could have been Rick Derringer.
We have to get to the bottom of this.
I don't know. I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere. And I'm going to say I will take the texter's brain over my brain of memory.
There you go.
As we have found out that my brain don't work so good sometimes.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Chief Engineer. This is the good one. This Carrie from Georgetown. Carrie from Georgetown.
Okay.
Also wrapped the rabbit ears in tinfoil. It's a hack. That is from Chief Engineer.
Yep.
So I'm going to trust Chief Engineer on this one.
There you go. And then if that doesn't work, just smack the flat screen.
Stop smacking flat screens. By the way, the Sports Complex takes no responsibility for broken TVs by taking Jacob's bad advice. Just get that legal news out there.
And if it doesn't work, smack it harder.
So far, Jacob has tried to get me fired and tried to break your TVs, really endearing himself to the crowd.
No, I just respect our listeners, and I know they have enough common sense to not perform these actions.
Oh, you respect them enough. Okay,
yes.
That's great. I don't trust. I'm very much of a we need to put warnings
on everything. Yeah.
Texter says more was less. Yeah, he's not too great. Kellen Moore to Texas A&M. I like that one.
That's I didn't see that one sneak in there.
I like that. And Jan says Kellen Moore needs more time. I think he does too. I think he needs to grow. And there's the example I'll give of why is we saw Sark have the same problem with Quinn Ewers, that he was trying to put Quinn Ewers into what Sark wanted to do as a quarterback.
Yes, that's a great example.
And Sark has grown and helped, and now Quinn Ewers is playing much better, and he's had the offseason. So I think there is evolution within Kellen Moore. I think he can get better and better as he goes. But I just, this season is probably a really big learning experience for him that, as much as Justin Herbert is his friend, you don't need to be best friends with the quarterback.
Yeah.
You need to be the coach that they need to have to advance their career, because you should have put the fact that Dak Prescott is now an MVP candidate and Justin Herbert, and I know he's had injuries this season, but you were supposed to elevate him to that.
And here's the thing with telling a quarterback how to run the offense or how to run a play is the quarterback never truly builds confidence, even if you experience success because they're running your offense. It's never theirs. Yeah,
exactly. And Chief Engineer says, Jacob, you would struggle working for him.
I don't know, man. I'm a good employee.
You're a great employee. You get all the work because you get everybody else fired, though.
Hey, come on. Don't give out my strategies here.
Give out the strategy. Let's talk about
it's easy to be the best when you're the only one.
Let's talk about some Saturday games and get to the Cowboys, who play a huge game on Sunday. Let's talk. Look, I like all the slate of the Saturday games. I think all three of them have implications in the playoffs and they're big games. They may not be the best, sexiest matchups when you have two backup quarterbacks, but Vikings at Bengals, Browning has played really well.
He has.
And so we think Browning's been playing really well. That defense for the Bengals is stepping up and getting better and better. We know the Vikings have Nick Mullins starting now. Josh Dobbs has apparently been demoted to third string.
I don't understand what keeps happening to Josh Dobbs.
I don't know if he rubs people the wrong way, or
he has one good game and then flips everybody the bird at practice the
next
day.
I have no idea.
What is going on?
He seems like an awesome dude, but for whatever reason, he keeps moving down. Or I don't know, maybe the receivers have an issue with him of putting him out in positions where they're getting hit more. I don't know if that's it. Because I know that's one of the theories is that he put
Justin
Jefferson. So you can tell, man, this is a long.
It's Friday.
I did not get enough
It's
sleep
Friday.
last night. Justin Jefferson put him out and got him strung out.
Who's Justin Jefferson anyway?
Who is that guy?
Yeah.
So that is one of the theories. I don't know if that's true or not, but it is curious. Nick Mullins is going to be playing. I don't know. Look, the Bengals have scored 30 points in the last 2 games with Browning, and
I think he's great.
I think he's doing really well. He's ready to go. And so if you say they're scoring points, the Vikings are not. The Vikings had 3 points to beat the Raiders last week. Those 63-point Raiders scored 0 points against the Vikings.
Oh, man.
So that's how bad, just to let you know how bad Brandon Staley is at coaching defense. Just to give you that.
Just digging in on the man while he's down. Quit kicking him.
He's fine. No sympathy for millionaires.
For better or worse, Staley, all eyes are on you now. Take advantage of it.
Taking you. I have the Bengals covering this one.
I do too. The legend of Jake Browning grows stronger, and Bengals -3 at home. This one feels easy.
This one seems like this is the Tomlin effect, though. If we just look offensively in this game, the Steelers are 27th in scoring.
Oof.
The Colts are 8th.
But that was Canada, right? I mean, that's Canada.
They've not been better since.
Yeah.
They have not, because they don't have any. They didn't there was no one on that roster or no one in the coaching staff who automatically was like, by the way, Canada's an idiot. Here's how we should do it.
Right.
They're still kind of running that offense. Like, you're still somewhat in there, and you're trying to expand it. Kenny Pickett is also out, and Kenny Pickett got hurt.
Well, it's kind of hard to completely rip apart an offense you've been running all season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they have problems. I think that's a Colts win. I like the Steelers too. Tomlin, he's pulled out crazy wins to get in the playoffs before. We'll see if he does it there. What do you have on that one?
I got the Steelers just because, like you said, Tomlin. It's the Tomlin effect. He's always going to have a winning season. I firmly believe that, and I think he gets one step closer to it this week.
This one's an interesting one. The Broncos are trying to come back and make it to the playoffs. The Lions are trying to get their season kind of going in the right direction. Haven't got it exactly where everybody thought they may be this season. People thought they'd break out a little bit more. Jared Goff coming back down to earth a little bit more this season.
Just a little bit.
But here's the difference for me. The Lions are holding teams to 96 rushing yards a game. Their rush defense is really good. And we know Aiden Hutchinson can rush the quarterback. And the problem is Denver has been this season basically a 50-50 run-pass kind of team. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball on this Lions team. If they're not able to move the ball, and Broncos rush defense is last in the league,
Oof.
that you think that Montgomery and Gibbs can go off in this game and they can control clock, and I think the Lions should be able to control this. You don't need Goff to be the guy.
I hope so.
And you're going to need Russell Wilson to dominate. I don't know if he can do that with those wide receivers.
Yeah, no, I hope Gibbs goes off. I need him to propel me into the fantasy playoffs this week.
So I have the Lions covering right here.
Yeah, that one seems easy to me too. It's tough because the Broncos do get hot randomly. So I don't think Russ will be able to cook enough to get away from Aiden Hutchinson. I'll take the Lions as well.
Ravens, 3.5-point favorites at the Jaguars. The Ravens have the best pass rush. They don't turn the ball over. Those are things Jaguars need. Trevor Lawrence, not as mobile as he needs to be. He had to face Myles Garrett, and now the best pass rush in the NFL.
Yep.
Not a great time to sprain your ankle if
No.
you were Trevor Lawrence.
No.
I think 3.5 is kind of a silly small line. I get they're in Jacksonville, but it feels like the Ravens are going to dominate this game.
I agree. I think the Ravens are one of the top 3-4 teams in the NFL, and I don't think the Jags are up there with them.
Cowboys and the Bills.
Here we go.
Bills are 2.5-point favorites in this game.
Why?
This is the Dak versus Josh Allen matchup that we have been waiting for because everybody compares the two of them, and Josh Allen gets a lot more love than Dak. But this season, that's somewhat shifting, the narrative shifting in that one. Josh Allen's going to want to show what he's got. They need to win games to get in the playoffs. The Cowboys are riding high. Do they slip up going in? Is it a wet and cold game that maybe the passes don't get caught from Dak Prescott and you have to run the ball and they can't?
I don't
Is that
care.
a problem? Or is this another screw you, we're here to stay Dallas team? Take it away, Jacob.
You're damn right. It's time for a statement win against a team that everybody's comparing you to for some reason, even though they have 7 wins on the season. Josh Allen has 25 touchdowns and 14 picks. He's on pace to break the record that he set last year for the Bills' interceptions. Dak Prescott has 28 touchdowns and 6 INTs. So these comparisons need to stop. I'm tired of hearing about how Dak is not even in the top 20 in previous years, yet Josh Allen was top 5 and they had similar stats. Now Dak is clearly ahead of Josh. The world knows it. This Cowboys defense is suffocating. Josh Allen's going to turn the ball over at least 6 times in the first half. Give me the Cowboys to win by 30.
All right. So I don't think he turns it over 6 times in the first half.
Okay.
But I'm going to pull you back from that edge.
Okay. Whew.
Does Deron Bland get a pick in this game?
Yes. No?
I don't know if he does.
Why not?
Because I think you can game plan around Deron Bland. Now, the question is, do they piss off Gilmore? Because Gilmore's going to be on Diggs, right?
Gilmore's actually questionable.
So if Gilmore's out, then Buffalo can really do some things because you just don't have the players in the secondary right then.
Right, and Hankins being out in the middle is tough as well.
Yeah, and so there's some injuries, but they don't really run the ball a ton. We know that Buffalo doesn't run the ball. I think the biggest question for this game is going to kind of be how bad is the weather going to be? I know they were practicing wet ball drills today at Dallas. They were trying to make sure that everybody, you don't muff punts. This is going to be a turnover team, not for Dak. I'm not as worried about Dak throwing interceptions in this. I'm worried about drop balls or tip balls or things where he's putting the ball where it needs to be, but it is wet or cold and the ball bounces, or you hand the ball off to a Rico Dottle who just doesn't get a ton of carries and, gets it poked out. Those types of things, muff punt.
Yeah, no, I hear your concerns. I will also say for the Bills, Micah Hyde is out, and so is A.J. Epinesa, which is one of their defensive ends. So it's going to be a little easier sledding for the Cowboys offense.
Yeah.
I stand by it. Okay, I'll be less ridiculous. I'll take the Cowboys by 10. How is that?
I will take the Cowboys by 2.5. But they're underdogs. I think the Cowboys, I take them straight up in this. I think the Cowboys do win the game.
Yes.
This Buffalo team is not, they're not 100%. They're not as good as they've been. They may come out in this game in Buffalo and go do it. The Cowboys are just playing really good football right now, and they may disappoint us because, as I always say, historically, there's a cliff. But they didn't find it last week against the Eagles.
Nope.
And we will see if they're able to come through. This is a game that if there's a big game you win. You're an underdog going into Buffalo. Do you tell the Vegas odd makers, this Cowboys team is here to stay? It's a big game for the Cowboys.
I don't understand why it's being made into a big game, honestly. I really don't. I really don't think Buffalo can compete with the Cowboys.
It is because it's a playoff team that you are going into a notoriously annoying place to play in December.
It's an edge of the wild card team.
They're a playoff team.
I get it. Okay.
How many teams with winning records did you beat this year? 2?
The second best, widely considered the second best team
I'm just
in the
saying,
NFL.
No, that's why it's a big deal because you don't play a ton of.
Okay.
That's my point. Is anytime you're playing a team that could be in the playoffs, that is a playoff matchup, and that is a good thing.
Yes.
It makes it a little bit harder.
I'm just preparing myself for people's counter arguments. Same thing they did with the Eagles. Once you beat them real bad, everybody's like, "See, we knew they sucked."
Yeah, so you're already making them. No, I think it's. But this is a Dak versus Josh Allen. That's the marquee matchup of can Dak go out there and be an MVP performance against Josh Allen? Can you get the ball? Can you run the ball against a team if the weather is not in your favor?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
That's a concern. But I think the Cowboys have enough. They can go kind of short. I think you can use CeeDee Lamb in those situations. Where he can get out and you can use speed and try to, if the field's not as slippery, you can go out there and try and still get around and get some edges. You can get the ball out to Brandon Cooks a little bit, just quick outs. You're going to be able to use Ferguson more and more as he is just stepping up. I think Ferguson could be a big part of this game as well for the Cowboys. I do have them winning this game.
Yeah, this is also big because you're probably not going to get the 1 seed in the NFC unless San Francisco slips.
Yeah.
And so being able to go on the road and win a game is going to be big for the confidence.
Yeah, win a game up north where, the conditions are not in your favor, and you go beat a team that, has for the past years been a better team than you.
Yeah.
And now can you show that you are shifting in your place? That's what it is. I have the Cowboys winning, although we'll see. Historically.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I know one word I can say that just always makes Jacob mad. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to the rest of the text on text line. If you got anything else you want to send in, 512-447-3776, and wrap it up before I completely fall apart on a Friday afternoon.
I already did.
Here on the Sports Complex on the Horn, 1019 AM 1260, the Horn app and hornfm.com. Wrapping it up here on the Sports Complex on the Horn. Getting you out for the weekend. Jacob, any weekend plans?
I am going to go visit and have Christmas with my grandmother this weekend in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, so you get to go early Christmas.
Yeah. Get to go eat some good food. We'll do a white elephant Christmas with the rest of the family
Okay,
as
the
well
white
on
elephant,
Sunday. Yeah, so I'll be watching the Cowboys game and trying to steal the good gifts from all my family members.
Do you have something good that you're putting in the white elephant?
No, I didn't pick them. My parents usually buy just 4 gifts for all of
Okay, I
us.
see.
But my favorite part is someone always brings like a fart machine and they plant it behind the tree when no one's looking. So when people bend over to grab a present, you run the fart machine and. Yeah.
That's solid.
It is
Solid.
solid.
Solid
I get a nice little immature laugh out of it every year.
Appreciate you guys on the text line hanging out with us. Chan does say if Dallas can run the ball, then they shall win. But he still dislike Jerry Jones. We're all with you. None of us. I mean, look.
He's not my favorites.
Unless Jerry Jones wants to hire me to do something, then Jerry, you're the man.
Right.
Hey, I will tell you, he put in Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor.
He lifted the curse.
And it seems like it's working.
I'm telling you, they lifted the curse.
But historically,
Jimmy Johnson wasn't in the Ring of Honor. We're good.
WPI Parts guys, thank you so much for the kind words as well with you, Chief Engineer. We appreciate each and every one of you that says some kind words to us and makes our weekend a little bit better as we get out of here and go back home and lay down in a bed with my dog and have a good old weekend. I don't plan too many plans. I kind of blew it out early. We did a big party on Thursday night, so now it is just rest and recuperation.
Recharge that social battery.
It will. I'm sure by Saturday I'll be watching games and be like, who's doing what? What are we getting out to?
Now, see here, Chief Engineer's looking forward to a movie list from me, and he's wanting kind of a hint on where I'll go with it. I will say I am a big Christopher Nolan fan. The Dark Knight trilogy was amazing.
Right.
What was the other one he did where they're walking backwards through time? I can't remember the name
Inception?
of it.
Tenet.
Oh, and Inception as well. Yeah, so
right.
Big Christopher Nolan fan. Might have 3 movies from him.
Yeah. Do you have any Weekend at Bernie's in there?
No.
Oh,
I
come
don't
on,
have any
man.
Weekend at Bernie's.
House party?
You gotta wait. You gotta wait to find out. You gotta wait.
All right, we're gonna take off. But everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the football this weekend. Enjoy the basketball. We'll be back here to talk about it and start getting into some Texas and Washington too next week. When we come back next week. Until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here 4 p.m. Monday afternoon. Ooh, I need to go to bed. Right here on the Horn.